My name is Claire Danaceau, and this is our introductory level foot fitness class on Yamuna foot wakers. To set it up, we have our feet about your foot distance, your foot length from the wall. The distance between the foot wakers is about the width of your foot, and we'll start right in the center on the heel bone. So you lift your toes up all the way off the floor and lean back against the wall. Bend your knees and kind of sink into the back of the heel. This is where the Achilles tendon attaches, so get as far back on the heel as you can. This will trigger a release all the way up the posterior side of your body. And from here, you bend the knees, rock forward, bring the ball of the foot down, press all the toes down, lift your toes up, and rock back. You're trying to articulate between the ball of the foot and the toes, so you're not just coming down like a lump. We do this a few times, and then we move on. So this is the easiest part. Now we're rolling our ankles out. You stay at the same spot in the center of the dome on the foot waker. Roll your ankles out, bend your knees. You want your feet to be tracking straight forward, not angled out to the side, not kind of shifted center here, but rolled out. You're on the side of the heel, which we don't walk on, but we've got some muscles here we're trying to stimulate. So you bend the knee, stretch the ball of the foot down, bring your little toe to the floor. Lift your toes up, rock back. And we do that a few times, working the posterior, the lateral side of the foot, and the back of the body. From here, we keep going down the lateral side of the foot. So you move your foot back just about a ½ inch on the foot waker. So your heel's even with the back edge of the foot waker. You bend your knees and sink down. So the soles of the feet are facing each other like you're gonna clap your feet. Bend your knees and stretch the little toe to the floor and rock back. And we'll do this about 3 times. If you're not getting enough stimulation, you can do it on 1 foot at a time. It'll be extra painful. So from here, rock back. Okay, keep going down the side of the foot. Now you're standing on the 5th metatarsal. This is the bone that goes to the little toe. So we're wrapping the 5th metatarsal under the 4th metatarsal. The skin here is pretty sensitive, so this is going to be pretty painful. We're not going to stay here for long. Bend the knee and wrap the little toe around, forward and back. Make sure your feet are tracking straight forward, not angled out to the side. We're strengthening the ankle here and the peroneal muscles on the side of the foot. These are important muscles that go to the little toe, and they're pretty atrophied. So I'm not gonna keep you here. You can just stand down and breathe for a second. See how your foot feels. You can move these a little farther from the wall so you have space. Now the heel's on the floor. You kick these a few inches forward, and your heel's on the floor, and you're on the lateral side of the foot, the 4th and 5th metatarsals. I can see half the foot waker still outside the foot. Your heel's on the floor, bend the knees. Press into the outside edge of the foot. Your big toe will pop up automatically, the arch will lift, and then relax. Now, using the wall for balance, you rise up on the toes. Inhale, and exhale, you come down. It's pretty hard because usually when you're rising up on your tiptoes, you're standing on your big toe. Now we're standing on the little toes, so it's gonna be fairly painful and hard, but it's going to make your ankle stronger. So you're coming up and bend your knees. Keep your heels up as high as you can. Breathe here. This is also good for neuromas. Straighten the legs and lower the heel down. We get an extra little calf stretch here. Kick one of these aside, take a little baby step forward, and press your back heel down to the floor. And you're working the outside edge of the foot. You're stretching the outside of your calf, and then you switch. You press. You press your hips forward. Relax, step off. You can move these a little farther from the wall, another ½ inch or so. You can move them a little farther from each other, and we're placing the 2 littlest toes on the back edge. Bend your knees, slide your hips down the wall, press. It's pretty painful, but it's really good for your little toes. You're pressing your little toes into the nubbles, and you feel really awake now. Straighten the legs, and then step off. See how the outside edge of your foot feels. You just did the lateral side of the foot, so you should be feeling a little bit taller, a little bit more awake. Now we reset these as we started, about the length of your foot from the wall and the width of your foot between. Start at the very beginning, on the back of the heel. Lift your toes up and lean back and breathe. Inhale and exhale, bend the knees. Push yourself off the wall, bring the ball of the foot down, press the toes down, lift the toes up, rock back. We're doing that again. And then we lean back against the wall. And then move your foot back. We're doing the center line of the foot. We've done the lateral line. Now we're in the center. The heel's even with the back edge. Bend your knees and sink down. We're trying to separate the heel from the rest of the foot because the heel takes a lot of impact. So you bend your knees and you're trying to stretch the rest of your foot forward like it's going down a sliding board. Then you press the ball of the foot down, the toes down, lift the toes, rock back. You can do that with your hips against the wall, or you can press off the wall, and you can do it. There are 26 bones in each foot, and so we're trying to articulate them so they're not all lumped together like they are sometimes when they're in a shoe. Let's step back just exactly in the middle of your foot. Sink down, breathe. You're centered, you're in the center line of the foot. You're centered, front and back on your foot. You rock back, you press your heels toward the floor. Depending on the length of your foot, your heel may or may not hit the floor. Bend the knee, wrap your foot around, press your toes down, lift your toes up, rock back, keep going. As I said, if you're not getting enough discomfort, you can do this on one foot at a time. If it's too much for you, you can do it with socks on, or you can put a towel over the knuckles so they're not so painful. And we step back. There's 7,000 nerves on the sole of each foot, so it's a lot of stimulation if you don't often walk barefoot on uneven surfaces. So now the heel's on the floor. You want to bring your heel as close to the foot waker as you can so you're getting the maximum stretch in the calf. Your toes are up, they're not touching the foot waker. Your hips are against the wall, you bend the knee, and you press down with the ball of the foot. And you're breathing, you're trying to press evenly with each foot. Now we rock forward and rise up on your tiptoes. You bring your toes over the front of the foot waker, and this is great for neuromas because it's separating, it's getting the padding back into the ball of the foot. And it's alleviating some of the pain that we get if we wear shoes with heels, or we wear shoes that are too thin, or maybe the toes are too crunched together. Straighten the legs, lower the heels, we do that again. Heels up, bend the knees, stretch your toes over the front of the foot waker and try to lift your toes up. Straighten the legs and lower the heels. And we'll do a little calf stretch so you can move one of them aside. Take a little baby step forward, press your back heel into the floor, bend the front knee, press your hips forward. You can try wiggling your toes. You can feel some of the connections of those 33 muscles up the back of the leg there, and then you switch feet. Getting a nice stretch. We're still in the center line of the foot. Make sure you're breathing. It gets better the more often you do this. You can do this as much as you want. And the more often you do it, the less painful it is, and the better your feet will feel, and the better your whole body will feel. So let's step off. Stand behind it, and you're putting your middle toes on the back edge, and you press your middle toes into the foot waker. Your feet are parallel. They're not turned out, they're not turned in. The outside edges are parallel. Press your toes in. It should be quite uncomfortable. Lift the heels up, bend the knees, and press and press and press. No one's died of discomfort yet, but you're gonna be pretty uncomfortable. It's gonna feel really great when you stop. So straighten the legs, and exhale, lower the heels and step off. Now you've done the lateral side of the foot and the center. See how that feels, see how that changes how you stand. And now we're doing reflexology as we do it. It's like a side benefit. So you're gonna feel this in every organ of your body. So we're resetting these. Guess what? The length of your foot from the wall and the width of your foot between them. And we're starting back on the heel. So on the lateral side, you're on the medial side. So now we're on the inside edge. If you look down, you can see half the foot waker. Press your legs. We're not actually rolling in. We're going to press our legs away from each other because most of the nerves and muscles run down the medial side of the ankle. So if we roll the ankles in and pronate, they're getting squished. So it's going to be a lot more comfortable and better for plantar fasciitis and everything to have your legs pressing away from each other. Bend the knees, stretch the ball of the foot down, press the toes down, lift the toes up, rock back, and continue. We do it one more time. And then step back The heel's even with the back edge. You're on the medial side of the foot, the beginning of your arch. You look down, you can see half of the dome there inside. Lift your toes up, rock back, bend the knees. You can have your hips just sliding down the wall. Press the ball of the foot down. Look, my toes aren't even touching. Press all your toes down, lift your toes up, lift the rest of the foot up, rock back, continue. And now we're moving into the arch. So move back, the arch of the foot, medial side of the